Hello and welcome to day 38 in creating this PHP web framework series. If it's day 38, if it isn't, I'm sorry. The title will be the correct date. I'm sure it is. So let's just continue with what we were doing. Last time we were looking at updating the frameworks. I think there's only one framework. I think it's Google Recapture that was out of date. So let's just go back into libs. So quickly check out hybrid auth. So 2.9.5 hybrid auth. They have got version 3 in development, but that's not out yet. So won't be implementing that until it's out and they recommend using it. Yeah, it's just in dev at the moment. So releases 295. Okay. The other thing is PHP mailer. Actually, might have been PHP mailer that was out. So let me have a look at Google Recapture then. I think Google Recapture might have been the one that I had the latest version of as well. So releases 113, and that's from March. So actually, we'll see. Google Recapture. Where would it be? A version 112. So 113. So yeah, let's download that zip. And I remember PHP mailer did have it as well. So PHP mailer, the GitHub page, and releases. So PHP mailer is this is PHP version. We don't want that. Nope, not licensed. Class PHP mailer 5216. Yeah, so there's been a few. PHP mailer 6 is not out yet, so I'm gonna wait till that is released to actually update to 6. Let's download PHP mailer as well. So let's get started with recapture first. So we go to the source. So first of all, I'm just gonna try and do a straight up copy and paste job, because it's only one new version, so hopefully it all works a-okay. We'll see. So assuming obviously there's no file in there now, so if I go to, that gives me errors, fine, that's natural. Okay, so if I go to public, so if I log out, log in, now register is the one with the recapture. So if I just do test 12345 as the user, password 123456789, and 123456789, and then for the I'll put contact@contact.com. I'm not a robot. Register. You have been registered now. So if I go to here, and we're here. Okay, that looks a-okay. So recapture is done. Also add this into here as well. So now let's check out PHP mailer. This one's a little newer, so this may cause errors somewhere. Maybe not. Okay, so let's copy all of that into here. And what's in extras? Easy peasy ICS, HTML filter, some cool stuff, but not necessary at the moment. And again. Okay, seems to have got the file. And so let's say if I were to go to forgot password, had an email address of that. Okay. uncaught error call to member function count. Invalidate.php. Let's have a look at that. And that's near the bottom, or 998. Let me try registering a user, because that might not be to do with the, what's it called? What am I looking for? The email thing. That might be just another problem. So let me just do this. No robot. Register. Okay. So I don't think that's an email problem. So if I go to login, forgot password, array to string conversion. So let's trace this through. So if we are in the forgot password view, so that would be home, forgot password. So what happens is you go through here and find using email. I think that's where it would get to. Okay, just delete it for now. Save that, refresh, and if I go to that, submit. No, I don't think it's to do with this. Is there anything before that? Again, forgot password.php. Where would that be messing up? Where would validate be being called? It's being called somewhere to do with here. Exists in MySQL users table name. So if I do this, for example, this should produce a different error now. Second, it's got a message. Let me check this. Not important. So if it exists in I don't think it's even to do with this. It probably is to do with the original file that I had opened. So go to validate. Line 198 again. Checking if it exists. And it seems to be an issue with this. So if, for example, I were to save this, refresh, what happens if I just submit empty? Submit that. Email address does not exist. Okay. So something to do with $check count. What's $check? Is this db get table name, something to do with the count one. So if I were to just refresh, just submit this again. Okay, array to string conversion, so it might be a okay. Let's go to that one first. Line 99 SQL. Okay. Array to string conversion. Guessing it's to do one of these. So if I were to put in here dot table okay, it's got a message, need to just check something. So what could this, so let me just remove that a second. Just trying to figure out where the problem lies. Error quarter member function count on Boolean. So let me put in here instead. If I were to just put some dummy text like this, operator, put as equals, and the location, just to see if this produces a different error or not, or doesn't produce an error at all. Still seems to be producing an error. Still on line 99 you were messing with. So the action would obviously be the select operator. Make sure it's actually being called properly. So it should be db get. So assuming the get one is being called properly, so go to the get one, and we're doing table name and then the array ID and the value. Okay, that's fine. What's making it break? I don't see why this would be the case, but let's. I was gonna say let's put a valid domain. You're not gonna support domain, but it's not doesn't exist. It's just totally messing up. So I think the email finding thing's fine. Update frameworks, that's fine. It's just an issue with I don't think it's a rate to string conversion problem either. We can have a look. So online software instead if I would select everything, the table being, I guess it doesn't actually matter, and the field. So refresh. Just gets rid of that error, but this is still a quarter member function count on Boolean. Okay. Where it returns false. Okay. Was that even a valid email address? That's a valid email address. So, okay. I think echo $check print underscore r $check so if I were to do that, for example, that shouldn't produce the error. So the problem seems to lie with and the difference in here. So validate, so everything that's to do with exists. Okay, yes. Get table name, yes, which has been obviously passed in. So item $value and make sure the right order. Otherwise, really, this should have broke other stuff if this wasn't working. But let's check. This is not getting it at all. Clearly, it's still an issue because in forget password db in here return $, this is not getting called. This would fix it and shouldn't do. Let's have a look, see what happens. Email address doesn't exist. print underscore r, print this out, and let's just die here. Refresh. It returns 1. Okay, let's go to error. Is that one of our methods? Can't remember. So this query. Here's a method right here. Would return obviously itself, and there is a method called error. Return $this error. Get any errors. What could the errors be? Let's do this instead. Let's have a look. Query again. Let's have a look at this. So parameter, if there's just a value, bind value $x. Instead of that, I'm going to print out the count, so $_count. Instead, undefined variable $_count, $this, blah blah blah. Okay, so running again. Apparently there's 0 rows with that email address. So let's copy this one instead. And paste it into here. Still apparently 0. Make sure we're trying to check for the right thing. So if we go to forget password, users table name, and if we go to core, not that core, the other core, configs, and it's DB. No, it's just users table name, users. Is that correct? You see all the other stuff would have broken. Make sure we go into the right column, and that would be in. So if we're checking if it exists, we'll go to validate. Exists $item, $value, $rule, So in the exists, it goes to the db get. And where is he getting this ID from again? So the first, so where something equals something, that's the first value, exists $item. Where's he getting $item from? Items as item. Here we go. Email address, there it is. Which again seems to be named correctly. So exists. What I'm going to do is, because we did a little while ago just sort of rearrange, it's been a little while now, but we did rearrange the validation class. So I'll go back a bit. That validation will have been in there for a while. So let's check out version 0.50. Actually, I'll be able to check the releases out. Might have a release old enough. Possibly. Let's download this. It's only like less than a meg, so code, classes, validate. Open the good old Sublime, so checks. Where's the exists? $this exists. Yeah, by then it was already abstracted out. So it's not in here. Let's go to the login page. Is the same check being done here with username required? Then we're doing $user login. Let's go to user class. Just see if that's being used anywhere else, that method. If it is, then it's not exactly that method then, is it? This login without checks, where's the actual check part? $this find username. Find. Not dined or dinned. Find. Gotta go to the method, find, and what we're doing get. Again, it's a get, which I believe we have in here as well. I just did that so it would appear in the working files. Go back to validate. Exists. We're doing the get in the user. So this is the login, and we've shown it login. So table name, ID equals. So that query seems to be a-okay in terms of the way it's structured. And seem to be able to get the count on that bad boy just fine. Still don't know what's going on here. Okay, let me try logging in to see what sort of count value gets returned. So if I go to the login page, login, on off in the password was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We still got 0 on here as well, which clearly it's not 0. That query has not run yet. Duh. Let me check an error. Seems to be no error, which is good. So if I go to the forgot password one, however, there is some error. Error and errors. Let's return errors now instead. So go to forgot password. No. Validate. Nope. DB. No. Where was I at? Was it down here? Over here somewhere. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be doing errors. This should actually print out the errors if there are any. Call to a member function, errors on Boolean. Error equals false. It's returning 1 even though it's equaling false. Again, this is in the database section. Everything gets routed through here. Like everything does get calls the action method, delete calls the action method, insert calls the query method, action. Did they use the action method? So we've done get before that works. Insert, obviously that's query, that's something different. This is query. I'm going to echo out something here, die, to see if he's getting into the add error section. Don't think so. Why is the forget password not working? It can't be anything. I don't think anything to do with this. It must be more to do with this section here somewhere. Me messing up somewhere to do with this. if validation passed. Yes, cleared. So if I were to comment at this line, for example, refresh, errors, line, there was something that I added, wasn't there? So let's get rid of that. Printing the error, but why were they even called? So if got password, exist shouldn't be called, should be called required an email. That shouldn't be a database call at all. That should not be a database call. That should not be a database. Let's echo a dollar email address. See if it's even a correct value. Yep, that seems to be correct. Find using email address. So if I were to just put in an explicit value there, does this still cause the same problem? Error occur, please try again. Go back to forgot password. If I were to just again, it's to do with this. Obviously not. So this exists doesn't work compared to find using email. That works fine apparently. To find using email, let's go to user, using email. Again, we're using a $get here. Go to DB validate. Print underscore R $ID. Let me just print these values out, make sure we're getting the right values. Again, it's working everywhere else, so if it isn't getting the right value, it's most likely not to do with these classes and to do with the way I'm using them. It's the way I'm hoping, because it means less changes or less hassle with the changes. So we got email address. Really do need to put some break lines. Okay, so refresh. So what we got email address. That's what it's trying to compare it to. Contact@contact.com is the value of find. Table name is That table name seems to just be whack. So if I were to explicitly put in here users, that is the table that they should be referring to. Okay, I think we're getting somewhere now. This table name that they've been sent in is invalid. It's not what we want. So it's rule value. Let's echo out this and let's die. It may be a validate PHP issue potentially. So instead of this, if I were to whack this here, so let's just see what values we're even getting in. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'll save time. If I copy this because I want to die as well. Paste it here. Change this for $source. Change this for $items. Change this for $error names. And now put this back in. So we got email address is and required 1, email 1. So if I go to get into the root of the issue, so on our config get, let me echo this bad boy out. Die. Now I want to print all it so we can properly see the data. Why is the table name not there? I think I figured it out. This should be part of the what's it called? The users config. Forgot password. I was doing MySQL. If I go back, users. If I need to paste that here. This will be lingering over from when I migrated the user tables into their own class, in their own config. So originally the config for DB had all the table names in there, but because we've added more and more tables, just felt like it would be better to separate them out. So actually I'm going to undo every change in here instead of trying to do it the other way. If I put users and there's only one users in there. The user or users, I can't remember. Users. Now I forgot password. That's the one I already changed. Invalidate. Undo every change in here. Save that. In database, undo any change. Save that in user, nothing in error. Okay, so round 2. Please check your email. So what if I were to go for one that doesn't actually exist? Email address does not exist. Okay. Thank God. So yeah, the issue was that. So what I want to actually do is what's the best way to do? I want to do a search on all the files and for any usage of MySQL /, so that way I can see if it is correctly using it. I'm sure it is, because like everything else we do tests use on a regular basis. This is the only thing that we don't. So view sidebar, show sidebar. Okay, can I find in folder? Start of this should pick up a whole heap. Okay, let me just go back to finding folder, MySQL / MySQL. Okay, we seem to be okay. Just enable stuff, which is the MySQL. Let's remove this. Okay, so fixed an issue that shouldn't have taken that long. Ah, bloody, it's been 47 minutes. I was only planning on doing a half-an-hour video and we fixed the issue. Again, it was an issue that needed to be fixed. I only got like the one thing done, which was just making sure everything was up to date, which it is now, which is good. The next one, I'll briefly talk about this. I'll end the video soon. So method for easily loading fonts using a PHP method and a PHP file path as CSS. I wasn't too sure what I was thinking when I wrote this, or at the moment. Method for easily loading fonts using a PHP method. It's pretty simple to load a font anyway, because the two ways that I know to load a font is you have the CSS font family code and you put that obviously in your CSS file. It looks, obviously that's just using one, but then actually to font family CSS add font file at font face rule. Okay, that's it. Maybe you're thinking about this. And the other way is you would have, so if it's not add, so the source section. So yeah, you would either have the URL like that and you'd either just access it, or you would have it in like via like a link that you would add, and that would just be a CSS link. But what I think that I was saying was more about the PHP file path of CSS. Back in 2013, I was experimenting with PHP file path CSS. See if I can find any links about it. I can't remember how to do it. Oh, I don't think I used an off-the-shelf thing. I think I was just messing around with it raw myself. Basically, it allows you to write code in a PHP file and pass your CSS. And what that does is it's a PHP file that acts as a CSS file. The reason you might want that is a PHP file and other backend files, languages, allow you to do really easy conditions. You know, like if this, then do that. So the idea was, and I had it working, it just wasn't as elegant as a raw CSS file. The idea was maybe you have some sort of backend check. Based on that, you will provide or use certain CSS So when he actually gets parsed, the PHP gets ignored, and only the CSS file that is, let's say, within any conditions would get used. So that's what I was talking about. And again, this is going to be one of those features that most time we probably won't use, but be there as an option. How often are these released? Let's have a look at tests. No. This is actually using PHP for methods, I think. Yes, that's not quite what we want. That's actually going quite far, quite deep into PHP. We wanted it a bit simpler than that. I'm sure this is very good as well. That doesn't look like what I want at all. So parse a CSS file. CSS variables with PHP. How old is this? I think this may actually have been the thing that the CSS Tricks is a good looking website. It's a good website in general. This may have been the one I had a look at using. At the top of your new style.php file, set the content type back to CSS. Yes, this seems like what we're looking for. And below, or now that you can set up variables for whatever you like. Below all that PHP stuff, you can just commence regular CSS writing. Yep. And then just echo out where you need to echo stuff out. Extend the power of ideas. Compress the CSS with PHP. What's that about? You managers don't want to hear you say that, but it's true. Again, it depends on how old it is. When it's like from one of the really old IE one, like IE6, you just look at the usage. It's like, no, it's not worth it. Update to a new one. I ain't gonna break my back and not spend that time on really cool features for the people, for the majority of people that are on a reasonably new browser. It's not even new, it's like reasonably new. How do you know so much stuff? So not working. I did a totally static web page and it worked fine. Then I tried this same technique within a WordPress site and no dice. The solution for me was to leave the file still named start.css and use .htaccess to parse it as PHP. Just make sure the code is in the .htaccess file. Patching so long. Same directly level as the CSS file. Then just use PHP inside it as you would any other PHP file. Apparently that works using PHP, but with our framework you wouldn't be using it with PHP, so I'm not gonna consider that to be an issue. Yeah, this is what I'm gonna implement. Doesn't seem like that difficult, but testing and whatnot, I'll leave it for next time. And the method I was talking about was, this will actually apply for not just fonts, but as you can see, you don't want to type this every single time. Let's say you can just call a PHP method, load font, for example, set font family, pass in the variable, pass in the source, boom, done, and it just works. Basically, it echoes out that CSS file, and you just put that wherever you want. It's not CSS file, that's CSS thing. We could probably do that for anything else CSS related that just takes a bit of time, and you just like margin dash top, I wouldn't mess with it. That's fine. Like, this is just an isolated thing. It's usually not part of other styles or like part of a class or an ID styling, and this is fantastic for wrapping up. And again, we won't wrap everything up. It'll just be, that we need, that would make sense over time when we use it, and we'll add stuff, and we'll probably take away stuff as well. So now that is fine then. I'm not very happy because I spent a lot of time trying to fix a bug that shouldn't have taken that long. And yeah, probably need to rearrange the from search engine should be coming for this push notification API, password expiration time. We'll have a look at that. Backup tool for admin, that seemed like a pretty important one. Yeah, it's looking good though, looking good. So now let's just, it was just the one change, wasn't it? So I'll just actually just go directly to GitHub. There's only the one change that we made code wise, and that was you know what, I'll do that change afterwards because I really need to go for a piss. So I'll end this video, make that change, and it needs to be a release because that is a break-in feature for the forgot password, which is a pretty used function. So it'll be -beta.3. So yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you next time. If you've got any suggestions, blah blah blah, all that usual crap, feel free to post on our education platform. You can tell I really need a piss, so I'll see you next time.